Hello everybody, welcome to the Steckline Report. Boy, I tell you what, we've been keeping track of a bunch of people running around the fields up north. Well, it's the Pro Farmer Crop Tour last week that kind of got our interest, and we've got some figures to talk about to see if it'll affect our grain markets in the next week or two. Stand by.
I first got started in the cattle business. My wife and my father-in-law got me into it. I love dealing with the animals and being in the outdoors. At American Ag Credit, I know a lot of them are in the same business that I am. You know, therefore they understand what I need and what problems I'm against, so they can work with you on it, and it makes it much easier.
It's been passed down to me through the generations, and I want to pass it on down to the next generation or two.
Are you ready? Straub International, your Case IH dealer, has what you need to work longer and stronger. Our new high horsepower tractors and combines feature SCR technology for Tier 4A engine emissions, eliminating regeneration times. Right now, Case IH is offering special pre-order discounts with free DEF packages, cab upgrades, and special financing on new units pre-ordered through July 31st, 2012. Straub International, your Case IH dealer, has 7 locations to pre-order your equipment and be ready.
Well, folks, the Pro Farmer Tour's over and the figures are in, and they haven't shaken too many people up, except to tell you that there was a surprise in some of the figures, from the extent that they found some better fields than most people in the country thought that they would, especially on corn. Let me just give you the facts first. First of all, they tell us after the Pro Farmer Tour put their official estimates together that we were going to have a 10.478 billion bushel corn crop, an average yield of 120.25, and that compares to USDA telling us just a few weeks ago that we were going to harvest 123.4 bushels per acre this year. So quite honestly, it wasn't too far apart, and it was kind of a surprise. I think most people were thinking the crop wasn't that good, and even yet today, I got to tell you, there's a lot of people tongue-in-cheek wondering if they saw enough fields to make that figure at the Pro Farmer Tour accurate. Well, there's no way that it could be accurate, but you'd like to have a pretty good guess. And some people are wondering if that's even the case. Soybeans, 2.6 billion bushels, average yield 34.8. USDA says 36.1. So both counts were down from USDA, but not as much as some people thought. And so we'll have to wait and see. The market hasn't moved much because of these figures at all, and I don't think they will. In fact, they probably already forgot about them as I speak to you about them. By the way, not only do we have problems with drought affecting the yields of this crop, but we're hearing a lot of problems with rare toxins in this drought-stressed grain. Be careful, everybody. You know, most of this Aflitoxin stuff was in southern states, but they're finding it clear as far north as Minnesota. So if you're harvesting stressed crops, you better have it tested before you feed it, because you could have some problems with some of those cattle. In the meantime, we have a big mess in California again. A slaughterhouse had some film shot of some slaughtering that wasn't according to Hoyle, and in fact, it closed that plant down. So there's been some congressmen and senators from California writing a letter to Vilsack pointing out the job losses and the impact on local beef prices after that undercover video resulted in the plant shutdown. The slaughterhouse is working on a plan with USDA. The slaughterhouse manager is, needless to say, upset about this situation. He was wondering why this group of people that took this picture, which are people that have done this in the past, why they didn't come to the plant themselves with this instead of putting it on the internet. But in any event, hundreds of employees at Central Valley Meat Company, Hanford, California, have been idled as a result of the facility's closure. The congressmen are saying that the public interest is best served by quickly deploying the necessary personnel to supervise the plant's resumption of operations under conditions that meet appropriate regulations. USDA should also more aggressively clarify that the food supply has not been in jeopardy, which it was not. Food supply never was involved. And by the way, something that doesn't make sense. USDA had a number of full-time inspectors on duty during the period in which the alleged violations occurred. Despite their active presence throughout the facility at the time these pictures were taken, there's no record of non-compliance with these people. In the strongest possible terms, the congressmen say in this letter to Vilsack, we urge you as the head of the agency charged with the science-based approach to securing the U.S. food supply to intervene against the onslaught of attacks that are occurring with these radical groups that have done some crazy things in the past. And needless to say, there may have been some things here that this slaughtering plant should have been doing differently. They are addressing those now, but there was probably a better way to handle this whole situation, is to put a bunch of people out of work and to mess up the food chain in that California area. That's enough for the Steckline Report this time around. Hey, we'll see you next time with a special guest. See you.